Live. And hello, everybody out there. And I am Mark Dallas, the dialect coach. And this is Teri Ritter, the talent agent. And we're back again with episode number 2 of Teri Talks Talent. And today I'm going to be asking a lot of questions and probably asking some of your questions if you comment with some of them, if you sign into if you are watching this via YouTube, then you can just sign in and then you can put questions in the comments there. And if I see any come up, then I'll ask those of Teri. So we are here to talk about, should I get an agent? Obviously not me personally, but people out there that may have been acting for a while or are thinking of going into thespianism. And I'm wondering if they should get representation. And those are the kinds of questions I'm going to be asking you today, Teri.
Okay.
So my first question is, do I need a talent agent to become an actor?
No, you don't actually. Okay, this is a kind of an interesting question because when I think, well, aren't you just naturally an actor? Can you not, you as an actor, you take your training and you can actually submit to projects and you can be an actor and you can do theater and you can do film and TV without ever having an agent, for sure. It's a little bit harder to get those bigger and better roles, big features that, or series roles. It's hard without an agent because you can't access the casting director who has those projects. But for sure, you can be an actor without an agent. Yes.
Yeah, it just means I guess you need to do a little bit more of the legwork yourself in order to find out what's happening, what if you're into commercials or whatever, going to the right places and finding when those auditions are going to be around. Whereas an
Right.
agent, the reason they take their cut is so that they're paid to do that work for you, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's basically what we do. We are looking for projects all day long for our actors. And so there's a lot of legwork that happens. I mentioned to Mark before we went live that I work at this 24/7, and it's really quite true. Whenever a project appears on the computer, I'm putting my people in, and not all projects are available to everyone, sometimes just to the agents. So when you're an actor that's just starting out, the best thing to do is start connecting with other people that are already acting. Start looking at those colleges and universities that have programs that are teaching students how to be directors and filmmakers. They're always looking for actors. And so that is a way to actually get access to some of the work that's out there that, can get you started as an actor. There are many different types of agents as well. There are principal agents and background agents, and sometimes people will start off by looking for a background agency in order to just get their feet wet on set or, in the industry to see what it feels like.
Yeah. By the way, I just wanted to do a quick shout out to the Oliphant twins.
Yeah.
I believe you know them, and also Jessica Pearl.
Hi,
guys. Okay, another question is, what should I look for in an agent?
Okay, so, I've had this question posed to me a couple of times in the last number of years, and what I always recommend is to try to figure out what your style is before you go looking for an agent. And the reason I say that is because as individuals, we're all really different and we all have different requirements and needs in terms of how we like to communicate with others. And so if you kind of reflect on what it is that your personal style is. Do you like lots of communication? Do you need lots of communication? Do you need a pat on the back? Do you need to be prodded up? figure out what that looks like for you and what you would need as an actor, and then try to find an agent that can respond to those needs, because not all agents are the same either. There are some that love communication. There are some that absolutely hate communication. They just want to work. They want to find your projects, and they want to be left alone. So it's all a style thing. So getting to know yourself and what your personal requirements are is probably a first, and then start looking or talking to other actors that have agents that sort of would respond to your personal style.
Interesting. So would you say that it's a good idea to like get a referral then? Like, so other friends of yours ask around and then they'll say, oh, such and such is a great one. And then you can ask them, oh, how does he or she or they deal with you? Like, how do they communicate? Are they chatty? Are they like, like you said,
Yeah.
that doesn't want to be spoken to or whatever?
Yeah, that's a good way to start, actually, is to find other actors that are already with an agent and see what they think of their own agents. Just ask for their opinion on, how communicative are they? Like, do they mind questions? Do they like to be texted a lot or called a lot? Or do they hate being called? And blah, blah, blah. There's a number of different ways to kind of go about finding out about an agency. Do your research online as well. I mean, Google them. There'll be comments about whether or not, people have had a good experience with that agent or not. ACTRA, any of the unions throughout Canada have a list of agencies that they don't actually recommend, but they have a list of agents that are legitimate agents that have done all the protocols and followed all the procedures and have, joined the memberships that are required in order to be, on their site as reputable agents.
Okay, cool. Jim Canali says hello. Is he one of yours?
No. Hi, Jim.
Okay, yeah. I know I wasn't sure because I know that Jim Canali and Jessica Pearl are both in my Talk Like That Facebook group. So
cool.
Maybe that's why I say, oh my God.
I know Jim though. He's on my Facebook as well. So we're connected sort of. Yeah, right. Through Facebook.
It's an incestual world. Right. Okay.
Yeah, kind of.
All right. My next question is, okay, so now I've decided I'm going to look for an agent. How do I find a talent agency?
Okay, so again, we've sort of answered that a little bit in the last one. Yeah. ACTRA or any of the unions have a list of reputable agents. That's a good place to start. Right. Referrals from friends or other actors is a really good place to start. Googling agents and you can end up with an agency that only wants to sign you to get you to pay money to them. So the answer,
and that would be a red flag, right? Like
it's a real red flag. This is actually a good subject. Is the red flags are if they're asking for money up front, if they have like 1,000 actors already, they're probably making money from them, signing you for $100 a piece or whatever, or asking you to do headshots in their own facility. There's a number of things that are real red flags because you'll sign up, you'll pay, and then you'll probably never get another audition or never get an audition. Exactly. They're making their money from you paying to join. Yeah.
They got what they wanted from you anyway. Yeah. In terms of you mentioned headshots, we'll do an entire episode on headshots pretty soon, but so we won't go into it, but it's a good point. Like if an agency is encouraging you, I think encouraging is a very light word to use, but maybe pestering you to get headshots, that's a red flag. I mean, headshots done by them. I mean, obviously
we all want them to do headshots, but we don't do it in-house.
Headshots, but
we also don't have a specific headshot photographer. We can give you a list of 5 that we really like. I have favorite headshot photographers that I know are going to do a really good job that will help me to get my guys auditions. But you're free to get them wherever you can as long as they're professional.
Okay. So apart from headshots, what other stuff does an agent need to see in order to take a meeting?
Okay. So for me, it's very specific. And I think for most agents that are principal agents, and what I mean by that is we are working with actors that we are trying to get into large speaking roles. That's a principal agent. And what I require when in order to take a meeting is I need to see at least some headshots. And I know that's difficult because a lot of agents want you to get new headshots when they sign with you. I just want to see what you look like to make sure I don't have a conflict with another actor on my roster. I want to see your resume. I want to see that you have at least 5 to 10 things on your resume to show that you already know what you're doing. You've already been working. I'd like to see demo material. And I know sometimes that's hard when you're just starting out, but with technology these days and the phones, the way you can film with phones, you and another actor friend can get together and actually put something together to show me that you know how to act. When you're beginning, all of these things are hard to come by. And that's why in the beginning, doing the legwork by doing student films, you'll get good demo material, you'll get something on your resume that you can actually prove to an agent that you're actually bookable, or, that you will be able to be booked by producers. So it's, and I like a nice cover letter. I've received emails that just have a headshot and resume attached with nothing on. I don't even know what they want. They basically have nothing. Not hi, I'm looking for representation. They just send stuff out, and I go, I don't know what do you want me to do with this? And so it's important to kind of describe who you are as an actor and why I should take a meeting with you. What is it about you that makes you unique enough that I should take a meeting with you? And a lot of people do that in spades, and there's a lot that submit and just, I try to answer everybody, but wow, there are some that you just go, what were you thinking?
Okay, yeah, great. It's like, yeah, got an email from you with a photograph and a list of things that you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. So yeah, I mean, really, you've got to prioritize, right? I mean, you're a busy person. I mean, any agent is going to be busy. Agent that is actually doing the work is going to be busy. So you want to put something together that is going to not just get their attention, but actually shows that you are real, that you're not just doing this on a whim. It's like, I woke up yesterday feeling like I could be an actor. So, I thought I'd put together a list of stuff that I like doing, and took a photograph of myself and sent it to you. So
doing the legwork ahead of time and putting together a really good package will usually get you a meeting with somebody, with an agent. And you have to do the legwork. I mean, it's sometimes sending it out to like 20 or 30 or more agents before you'll get a response. But it also depends on how busy everybody is and how busy the industry is. If it's really slow, people might, have their roster closed because they just are focusing on their own actors because the industry is quiet. When COVID hit, there were no agents taking people on, it was just too slow. The industry was quiet.
Yeah, there was no work to give them anyway. So there was no point in keeping the books open. So, I mean, you've kind of partially already answered this question, which is like, how much experience do I need to have before submitting to an agent? You did mention like having a few things, you
Every
know.
agent will be different. For
Yeah.
me, I need to see anywhere between 5 and 10 principal roles, which is basically means you have a scene to speak. And anything less than that, you're kind of starting off, and you should go with an agency that is also starting off. When I first started as an agent, I really literally took brand new people right out of school because I was a brand new agent just learning myself. And we kind of grew together. And a lot of those people that started with me are still on my roster today. And I've grown as an agent and they've grown as actors. So when you're just starting out, look for an agency that's just open, because they're going to be hungry and looking for people to submit. And that is one way for a beginner to actually get a new agent. But try to make sure your package is as good as it can be, and really do the work ahead of time. Nobody's going to take you on if you just say, I want to be an actor. It's just not going to happen. You have to prove that you know how to do this thing before an agent will take the chance.
Okay, so what does a talent agent actually do? Don't they just sit at the computer all day and eat bonbons and then take 15% of whatever you make?
Wow, I wish that was so true. Like, I don't have a bonbon on my desk. Surprisingly enough, it's actually really a lot of work. Like, I put 24/7 into this. I'm constantly looking for projects for my guys. I'm dealing with calls from casting or bookings, or the accounting side of it, which is making sure my guys get paid on time and get paid. So there's a lot that goes into it, and to be honest, most of it I'm doing for zero pay because we are only on commission. I'm working 24/7 for the hopes that you're going to get a booking, which I will get 15% of. So, it's when you probably work it out over the amount of hours that I do, I'm probably making 50 cents an hour on what I do.
So you obviously do it for love.
But I do it
Yeah.
for love. That
Yeah.
is actually why, because when you do get those bookings, not only is the actor thrilled, but I'm thrilled too. And so we work very hard to get our guys projects, and it can involve a bunch of different things, including like talking to producers about, an actor that would be potentially good for a role. And so searching out those things, it takes a lot of time, actually a lot of time. Ask my family.
Okay, I've got a tricky question for you now, which is, what's the difference between an agent and manager?
Yeah, that is kind of a tricky question. We don't have managers up here in Canada. They have them in the US. And I've just started working with a couple of managers in the US for my actors here in Canada. So generally, as an agent, my job is to find you projects, send you the auditions, manage the tapes, send them to casting, manage the booking, and the finances accordingly. A manager, it tends to help you build your career. So they are more on that, supportive side. Where do you want to go? What strategies do we need to move you ahead? How do we, get you in the door of this or that casting director? So, those are the two separate roles that they have in the US. In Canada, most agents take on that managerial role as well. And it's part of the job that I actually like a lot, is trying to figure out, with my actors, where are we going next? What do we want to do? What kind of projects do we want to do? What charges you up? And it's all part of the management function.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's say I've decided on an agent that I would like to be booked with, and I've sent in an email with my resume attached, my headshots, and a cover letter that explains about me, who I am, what I'm looking for, and so on. Now, when I get a response, well, first of all, how long does it take to get a response from an agent?
Well, a lot of agents don't even respond. I would say 90% of all agents don't respond to those emails, especially if their roster is closed. I always try to respond to everyone that mails, even the weird ones, just to say, look, I'm sorry. No, I mean, I get some really weird ones. And sometimes I will actually email back and say, here's why you should never email this way to an agent.
That's
You
very
really
kind
need
of
to
you.
do this. Yeah, I kind of, yeah, I kind of get that, but I also really believe the only way people are going to learn how to move forward is to get that information. And if
Yeah.
nobody's responding to them, how are they going to know? And so I took it on to do it. I can't, I do it in my spare time. So sometimes it takes, a week or two for me to get to these people. But I really think it's important that if you're reaching out to me for representation, I should either tell you why not, or just say, thank you so much for reaching out. Unfortunately, my roster is closed right now. And I try to do that for everybody. I miss probably a few, but for the most part, I think I do that.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Well, that's good
So
to know, because I mean, I know there are some people that have sent emails out, wondering, well, I haven't heard anything. Why haven't I? What the hell's going on? But
they
that's
won't. 95% of the agents will not respond
yeah,
because they get thousands and thousands. Like I get probably 200 a week. Like literally it's a lot of email that comes in.
right.
And so I can see why agents don't respond. And at some point, probably, well, I don't know. I've been done it for 14 years, so I'll probably keep on doing it. But it is time consuming to actually answer everybody. So just know that if you don't get an answer, it's just because people just generally can't do it. It's too much to do.
And don't send in multiple emails. Don't keep trying. Like,
Yeah. Unless, of course, you're a referral from somebody, you can definitely try a second time and say, hey, I've been referred from somebody on your roster. I would really love to hear back from you. And those, I mean, that might help. I find referrals, I will always take a second look at, because if somebody on my roster is referring, they must know that they're already really good. Because they know how I am.
yeah.
And so I will always take a look at somebody that's been referred
Okay.
either from a casting director, another actor, or a coaching, an acting coach. I will always respond to those for sure.
So let's say you hit the jackpot. You got a response from an agent that says, yeah, sure, let's, why don't we meet up? Well, right now it's probably going to be online. In the near future, it may be in person. What should that person expect at a talent agent meeting?
Yeah, it again, it really depends on who the agent is. Some agents are very, very, professional. Just and this is why it's important to find out first what your personal style is, because if you're walking into a meeting with an agent that's just all business, it's going to be fairly hard to feel comfortable if you're a person that's really outgoing and friendly. And so, again, do your research first. In my meetings, we chit chat a little bit at the very beginning so that we kind of get a rapport going and we sort of get comfortable. And then I start asking questions about what kind of roles do they like? What have they done in the past? What kind of skills do they have? What would they, what is their, like, what show would they die to be on, because it informs me of, whether or not I think I can actually do something for them. And I ask them as well, what kind of questions do you have for me, so that we can get this conversation going and see if there's a good fit. Without a good fit, I think you need to look for another agent. If you don't get a good gut feeling when you're in a meeting about the agent, don't jump at it just because you think that may be the only person you can get as an agent. It's so important to have that connection, I think.
So, what kind of signs would you say are a few red flags that you're with a bad agent?
Oh, well, somebody that actually doesn't answer your questions, for one, or is evasive. Like a lot of my guys, or a lot of people will say, well, is it okay for me to ask for my submissions? And the submission list is all the things that I put you in for over the last year or the last little bit. And if the agent says, well, no, I don't really want to, I don't want to really give you that. For me, it's a sign probably that they haven't submitted you on anything at all, or why wouldn't they give it to you? So, just being evasive, not being, there's a number of tells, I think, when you're sitting with an agent that you'll feel it. You'll feel it in your gut. You're an actor. My God, this is the stuff that you're really good at. You'll feel it in your gut if it's not the right one. I sincerely believe. And I do too. When I'm talking to somebody and I'm taking a meeting with an actor, if I don't feel solid with this, like that we could work together, I just can't make them an offer to come on board, because it's just, the teaming thing is hugely important to making this thing work.
Okay. So you found your agent, you've got a good gut feeling about them, the signs seem to be good. How do I maintain a good relationship with my agent?
Again, it's making sure you're responding to your agent's requests. One of the things, like one of my pet peeves is, when I've really made a lot of effort to get a really good audition from one of my guys, and I either don't hear back or they can't do it because they got other stuff going on. And it means that they haven't communicated to me that they're out of town, for instance. They don't communicate. Communication is the key. So to make your agent happy, to make this agent happy, I need communication from you, that I know that when I text you that there's an audition on the email, I'm going to hear back from you probably within the next half hour, unless, you're at work or whatever. But most of my guys will jump when I text them. They'll jump on the text and say, yeah, I'm good to go. I'm good to go. And it's that level of, back and forth and teaming that is, that will definitely keep me happy, and it'll keep you in lots of auditions. The minute we lose touch with each other, is probably when the relationship is falling apart, and likely, one of us is probably going to, ask the other to go. So, yeah.
That's a difficult conversation to have, but
it really is. Yeah, it's not good. Yeah. But it has to be had sometime. If, I'm working 24/7 for basically no money until you book something. And if I'm making that kind of effort on your behalf and you can't even do a tape for me, I'm making way more effort for your career than you are, then
yeah. So
that makes no sense.
It's got to be even on both sides, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it takes a team.
And so what happens if someone gets dropped by an agent?
Okay. So, it's, just like an actor who wants to shake things up. Okay, there are many different reasons why an agent would drop somebody. One of them is just you're not doing the job, you're not responding, you're always giving excuses for why you can't go to an audition or do a tape or whatever. That's the major reason that you would be dropped fairly quickly. like everybody, you know, in this industry, or in any industry probably, there comes a time when things stall, especially, you know, in this industry. You'll get booking, you'll be working, and then all of a sudden nothing is happening for months. And when that happens, you need to shake something up. And sometimes it's a haircut, sometimes it's a change of, you know, losing weight, gaining weight, you know, changing the style of your hair, whatever, in order to shake things up. And sometimes it's changing your agent. So just as actors sometimes change their agents, agents sometimes shake things up in their own roster in order to shake things up with the casting directors. So most of the time, anybody that gets dropped, it's not because they aren't great actors. It's actually because there's something in the roster that needs to be shifted. If you've spent 14 years submitting the same people over and over and over again, you know, there comes a time when you might want to actually shake things up and bring on a batch of new actors, which means that you need to let a batch of actors go. And it's not about them, it's about shifting something in order for casting to actually open the doors again. And so never take it personally, unless of course you're doing dumb stuff, and then you can take it personally. But
so there is a maximum, like each agent will have a maximum capacity, like a maximum number of people that they will be that have on their list, on their roster, right?
Yeah, and it's different for every agent. I mean, some agents really like to do a lot of work with their actors, a lot of communication, and so they'll have a smaller roster. Some agents don't have any communication with their actors, and they can actually, you know, keep a roster of like 500. I just couldn't do it because it's like way too much, because I like the communication and I like to help manage, you know, their careers. I keep my roster a little bit smaller. So, you know, it's a personal thing. Every agent is going to be different in what they're able to handle. And some people don't work as hard, probably as I do, because I'm like literally working all the time. Some people just like to, you know, have a smaller roster so they can actually have a life too.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know, why would you have a life? I mean, this is your life. What are you talking about?
It's really, you know, I am trying to be rigid about like the weekends, but I have to say, I still like will, you know, on the weekends, even though I try to put it away so I can have some family time. But
I totally understand. I mean, when you're running your own business, it's not like the 9 to 5. You know, you come home, the weekend is entirely yours. You know, you're answering messages and emails and DMs, everything like that, because your business doesn't go to sleep for that
no, it does
48
not.
hours. It's still kind of happening.
Yeah, and I have actors that are shooting all across the world. So I have somebody in Australia that's texting me in the middle of the night. And I have actors that just don't sleep, it seems, and they're texting me in the middle of the night. So it's like, you know, whatever.
Yeah, so you can't sleep, yeah. Okay, well, I think we've pretty much covered everything, and nobody has asked any further questions. So I think we've asked all of the possible questions about this topic. So thank you very much, Teri.
Well, you're very welcome.
For episode 2, and thanks to everybody who is watching and will be watching. Next week, we will be back at the same time. So Teri will be talking talent at 2:20 next Tuesday.
I can't even say that still. Teri talks talent at 2:20 Tuesdays.
What kind of a dialect coach would I be if I couldn't do a tongue twister, right? So, so we'll be back again then. And until then, everybody stay safe and enjoy the weather.
Yeah, it's cold. It's cold where I am. So,
Is it really?
Yeah. It was 11 last night. So it was really cold. It felt really cold after the warm days. So, yeah, we'll see you next week, everyone.